The co-founder of Wikipedia is slamming the site for its blatant left-wing bias, and this co-founder is doing something about it. He's launching his own alternative free speech site. In this video, we're going to take a look at the ridiculously left-wing bias that pervades Wikipedia, how the co-founder is actively launching a free speech alternative, and how his launch is part of a larger world of parallel structures, a promise of future free from the ridiculous cancel culture tyranny of the modern left. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you as always. We're here to give you each and every single day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you think better so that you can feel better. So if you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel. We do have some alt tech links down below for you Rumble fans. Make sure to click on that link below and subscribe to our new Rumble channel and help us. We're almost at 100,000 subs. We're almost there, and you can help us pass that mark. And for you Parler fans, make sure to click on the link below and subscribe to my Parler channel. And let's together support the return of this wonderful alt-tech site. Before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video. Keep our lights on here. And that's Metabolic Greens Plus, available at my special website, greenwithsteveturley.com. All you got to do is just add 1 scoop of it to your drink every morning, and in less than a month, don't be surprised if you notice a significant boost in your energy, as well as friends and family commenting on your clothes fitting better and even your hair looking fuller and richer. And that's because Metabolic Greens Plus is a natural blend of premium toxin removers and metabolism boosters, which curbs your appetite and cravings, detoxes your body, and supercharges your metabolism. If you click on that link down below right now, you're going to get a bottle shipped to you at some of their lowest prices ever. But it is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Click on that link below or go to greenwithsteveturley.com and begin reaping the benefits of Metabolic Greens Plus for yourself today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Now, you may not know the name Larry Sanger, but you certainly know his work. Larry is the co-founder of Wikipedia, the crowd-funded and collaborative online encyclopedia maintained by a community of volunteer contributors. Well, Larry's been in the news of late because not only is he excoriating Wikipedia for having abandoned its original neutrality policy, but Larry is also doing something about it. He's launching a competing website as a free speech-friendly alternative to what he sees as the increasing leftist censorship dominating Wikipedia. Now, last May, Larry published an op-ed on his blog entitled "Wikipedia is Badly Biased," where he argued that the site's original neutrality policy is officially dead. Wikipedia, like virtually every institution in our nation, has been co-opted by the cultural Marxist left, and it can be discerned by observing what are some pretty shocking examples. For example, he cited a Fox News report that showed how Wikipedia was, in point of fact, guilty of whitewashing the historical ideologies of socialism and communism. As the Fox News report noted, the 2 main pages for socialism and communism span a massive 28,000 words, and yet they contain no discussion of the genocides committed by socialist and communist regimes in which tens of millions of people were murdered and starved. Instead, Wikipedia's socialism page claims the Soviet era saw some of the most significant technological achievements of the 20th century. But the page ignores a man-made famine in which Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin commandeered the food from regions like Ukraine and Kazakhstan, leaving millions to starve to death, even as the Soviet Union exported grain to foreign countries. Another example is the ridiculous discrepancy between how Wikipedia editors treated the presidencies of Barack Obama and Donald Trump in their respective pages. Larry notes that President Barack Obama's page completely fails to mention many well-known scandals such as Benghazi, the IRS scandal, the AP phone record scandal, and the so-called Fast and Furious operation. Obviously, he points out a fair article about a major political figure certainly must include the bad with the good. But then when you compare Obama's page with Trump's, the discrepancies become patently obvious. On Trump's page, according to Sanger, there are over 5,000 unflattering words, most of which involve the impeachment scandals, which of course were scandals on the side of the Democrats who blatantly politicized and weaponized impeachment. So Obama gets glowing coverage and Trump's page is littered with disparaging and negative pejoratives. And Larry, the co-founder of Wikipedia, pointed out that you could basically take any left-wing issue and find that Wikipedia treats it with respect and sympathy and adulation, while at the same time the editors have decided to consistently disparage and derogate right-wing issues. For example, back in July of last year, the Gateway Pundit ran a story on how Wikipedia editors banned Fox News along with the Epoch Times and the Gateway Pundit as reliable news sources. By contrast, Breitbart found that the New York Times, the BBC, the British Guardian, radically leftist sites were the most oft-cited news sources on Wikipedia. Now, I have to say I've actually dealt with this personally, this left-wing bias. I saw it firsthand. I had a Wikipedia page for a time, and I was privy to the swarm of leftist activists that demanded that the page be taken down. And they cited all kinds of silly reasons, but I'll never forget the one who claimed that it was because I was a right-wing conspiracy theorist. I mean, I saw the comments firsthand in terms of their deliberations, and it was pretty clear to me that these deliberations were a kangaroo court. The leftists among the editors and contributors were determined to get rid of my page, and they didn't care how they would do it. So I've seen it firsthand, and I can say, based on my personal experience, that Wikipedia is a leftist cesspool. Now, the great news is that Larry Sanger isn't taking this lying down. He's doing something about it. Larry's officially starting an alternative site, a site that will challenge that leftist hegemony that has so corrupted Wikipedia. The forthcoming project is called Encyclosphere, and what it's going to be is a decentralized network of the world's encyclopedias, what Larry's calling sort of an old-fashioned, leaderless, ownerless network like the blogosphere. So in a video posted to Twitter, Sanger announced the Encyclosphere, calling it, quote, a free giant global knowledge commons without any central control. Now the key here is that Encyclosphere would be able to avoid any anti-free speech precisely because freedom is built right into its very architecture, right? Very much like the blogosphere. So while different competing apps can restrict access to an extent, or governments can restrict access, the network itself will never restrict access. And reading about this, it made me think of blockchain technology, which is an internet architecture that has decentralization actually built into it. And therefore the information contained therein can never be monopolized by a single organization like Google, for example. So decentralization and freedom are built into the very architectural structure of the system. So Sanger is saying that the Encyclosphere should be up and running in the very near future and will present a clear alternative to the leftist monopolization of Wikipedia. Now, if you've been with this channel for some time, if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But if you've been with us for some time now, you'll know that what Larry is doing here is actually part of a larger project that patriots and conservatives around the world have been engaged in some time, and that's the building up of what's called a parallel society or parallel structures. Now, before we get into that, if you are looking for an encouraging and hopeful alternative to all the fake news nonsense that's being spewed out there on a daily basis from the leftist likes of CNN and the New York Times and the Guardian, you're going to find no better antidote than what's in the pages of my book, The Return of Christendom. Do not take my word for it. Just read through the reviews on Amazon. There's over 260 of them, and you'll see how this book cuts through all the cynicism and despair that we so often feel living in this crazy globalist world. So in page after page, I give you all the data and statistics and indicators that show nothing less than a new conservative Christian majority emerging throughout the United States and Europe, and it's already transforming the world map into a more nationalist, populist, and traditionalist world. And if you click on that link below, we're offering it for a limited time at a 50% discount. That's right, 50% off. So do not wait. This is a limited time offer. Click on that link and get your book at a super discount today and arm yourself with the information you need to crush fake news once and for all. All right, so this notion of parallel structures is actually a concept that's rooted in a body of writings composed in the 1970s and 80s by the Czechoslovakian dissident Václav Havel. He would end up becoming president of the Czech Republic. Václav Havel and Václav Benda. And this is in terms of what they called a parallel polis. And the basic gist here is that when the dominant institutions of society have become so corrupt, as they were, for example, the Soviet Union dominated Czechoslovakia at the time, the only way to maintain the flourishing of a genuine humanity is through the building up of parallel alternative institutions that allowed people to live out truth. And that's what we're seeing emerging, not just here in the United States, but indeed throughout the entire world, where what are called frontier innovators are building a world that no longer relies on the leftist Marxists of Silicon Valley or Wall Street or the bullies in Brussels. So as part of this wider process, we're seeing, for example, the rising up of alternative news sites that affirm and celebrate patriotic values rather than denigrate and derogate them. We're seeing the rise of alt-tech sites that celebrate free speech rather than suppress it. We're seeing the rise of alternative currencies like Bitcoin that represent a decentralized financial system. We're seeing the rise of digital banks in concurrence with that, banks that house digital assets that are no longer reliant on the Federal Reserve. We're seeing the rise of alternative K-12 education with the surge in homeschooling and conservative classical education, along with alternative conservative colleges. Everywhere we look, we're seeing the rise of a parallel polis, a very real alternative world that celebrates patriotism and freedom and promises a future free from the ridiculous cancel culture tyranny of the modern left. So obviously, we'll be keeping a very close eye on the rise of the Encyclosphere and welcome this new wonderful addition to a rising conservative world. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. You definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it with the Cuomo bros. It's on how CNN's Chris Cuomo is blasted by his own mainstream media colleagues for refusing to cover his brother Andrew's sexual harassment scandal. Yes, the party is over for the Cuomo bros. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.